So in past talks that you've given, you've said that nobody except for Bill Clinton is pro-rape, but but like on a college campus, as you know, like the sexual assault rate is incredibly high, and the schools and many people will do anything they can to cover it up. So how do you think that if there's no rape culture, how can we make a community or a society that women feel, or men, feel more comfortable coming out and like reporting their assault?
Okay, so number one, it is not true that the rape rate on college campuses is higher than it is anywhere else in society. In fact, it's significantly lower. College-aged women in the United States who are at colleges are raped at a significantly lower rate, according to the Department of Justice statistics, than college-aged women who are not on college campuses. College campuses are a lot safer than women are in the general public. So the idea that there's this epidemic of rape that's happening on college campuses, no, there's rape that happens, and women who are usually targeted in rapes happen to be young, right, just as a general rule. And that means that women on college campuses are going to be targeted more than women who are 60 years old. But that does not hold true when you compare apples to apples, right? When you're comparing young women on college campuses to young women off of college campuses, the rape rates off of college campuses are much higher. Also, the statistics that are put out, like 1 in 5 women being raped on a college campus, these are just not true. There's no evidence to bolster that. The study that is often cited about that is a study that has been thoroughly debunked by a couple of professors at Northeastern University. It was basically a self-reported survey in which people reported their sexual assault, and the classification of sexual assault included things like an unwanted kiss, which may be not something you want, but is also not rape, right? And so trying to group all these things together is a bit of a mistake. As I always say to people, if the rape rate were 1 in 5 on college campuses, I would not send my daughter to college, right? I mean, I'd find another way to educate her where she wasn't on a college campus. With that said, how do we actually alleviate the problem? Well, the way that we alleviate the problem, and I think it's necessary to mention here that criminal violence rates in the United States have been significantly dropping since the mid-90s. So the crisis on campus, I think, is overstated. But with that said, every rape is an act of evil. Every rapist who is found to have committed a rape should be castrated or killed. I mean, and the truth is that men, the actual guardians of women against rape are men, right? I mean, it has to be men. And what that means is that men have to be taught from the time that they are young that they are protectors. And I hear all these slogans like, teach men not to rape. Okay, my father never sat me down and said, Ben, when you're out there at night with a woman, do not rape her. Like, this was never something that had to be said, because what my father taught instead was an affirmative virtue that you're supposed to treat women with. You're supposed to treat women with respect. You're supposed to treat them as individual human beings made in the mold of God. You're supposed to be protecting them. And men have a special role in protecting them, because men are built to either protect or destroy. This is what men do throughout human history. I can see it in my 2.5-year-old son. He's either building blocks or he's knocking them down. That's what he does, right? And if we as a society deprive men of their role in protecting women, and we say, you know what, treat women like a disposable object. In our sex-first world, treat women like they're a disposable object, and act as though women and men treat sex exactly the same, and then feed them a steady diet of media where we suggest that all women really want it, right? Feed them the blurred lines mentality that even when a girl says no, what she really might mean is yes, because all girls really kind of want it. You do that, and you're walking into a buzzsaw. It's a huge mistake. I mean, listen, one of the reasons that I never had any of these problems and will never have any of these problems is because I'm a proud virgin until marriage, right? I mean, this is something that I think is actually a good thing. I think that promulgating societal standards of virtue and men defending women and men standing up to other men who won't defend women, that's actually what we need. But that can only happen when radical feminists say that we want men to do this. They're not insulted when a man opens a door or tries to pay for lunch. They're not insulted when a man says, listen, my job is to be the sheepdog. My job is to be the protector. Men and women are different, and they have different roles. And if men are not protecting women, historically speaking and currently, outside of Western civilization, women do not have the capacity to protect themselves. Okay, that is just a fact of human nature. Okay, in every other society, for the vast majority of human history, women were victimized by men. All the gains that women have men in Western society are due, yes, to women, but they are mostly due to a virtuous civilization that cultivated virtue in men. Right? It was good men who made the world better for women. It wasn't just women who made the world better for women.
my question about your statistics on rape culture, don't you think that maybe a lot of women who experience this don't want to come forward? And if you don't mind me giving an example, you're Jewish, so you know Long Island, New York. There was a case in Long Island, New York, where there was a pediatrician who, no, seriously,
No, I'm waiting to hear the case. Not everyone in Long Island is Jewish. But don't worry, I don't think you're an anti-Semite.
Thank you. But more importantly, in this town, it came forward that like there was a few people that he molested, and then more people came forward, and it came out being like dozens and dozens, and like there was this whole escapade where people didn't even say anything until other people came forward.
Yes.
So don't you think that maybe people are scared to come forward, and that it's possible that those statistics could be not entirely as accurate?
Okay, so it's possible the statistics are somewhat low, but the idea that they are 244 low out of 250 is wrong, right? So there's a vast difference between 0.6% rape rate and 25% rape rate. So yes, if you're asking are there men who are raped, who are intimidated about coming forward, of course that's true. And of course we need to make it easier for people to come forward and report rape. I think, by the way, that it is also very important that in cases of rape that we fulfill an evidentiary standard, because when I'm talking about you have to castrate or kill people, they better damn well be guilty, right? So I want to make sure that the people who are convicted are certainly guilty. But that said, I think that one of the grave tragedies is that there's so many people who are raped who don't come forward, and then they talk later about the rapes that they've experienced. The world would be a lot better place if we could encourage those people to come forward. If they did come forward, I want rapists in jail. I don't want them out on the streets. So when people say rape culture, my problem is that it's just too vague. I don't know what that means. Who in the United States is pro-rape? I need to hear who out there really?
Well, I think that
Other than Bill Clinton.
I think that though, there's a lot of, wouldn't you say though that, I mean, we're on college campus, I see like a lot when I'm out, like guys taking advantage of girls. I don't think they're thinking, oh, like let me go rape this girl, but couldn't you say that there's a very close narrative between...
I think there's an irresponsibility culture. I'm not sure that there's a rape culture. And what I mean by that is that, what you're talking about, first of all, if there is a culture, again, I don't know who's out there saying rape is good, but I think there are people out there saying that getting drunk and having sex with random people is good. And if that leads to a higher rape rate, if there's a correlation there, that's a problem, obviously. But the reason I don't like the term rape culture is not because I'm pro-rape, it's because I'm anti-rape. I think that we should make very clear that rape needs to be stopped. But the idea that everybody out there is on the verge of raping women, which is sort of what rape culture suggests, is just not true, and it's a slander against men.
Hi, Shapiro.
Howdy.
I understand that you don't believe in the rape epidemic, and you're trying to prove a point, and I totally understand that, but I believe your facts are misleading. When I heard you say, correct me if I'm wrong, you said that there are 6 out of 1,000
I said the Bureau of Justice Statistics report from 1995 to 2002 reported that the rape rate on college campuses was 6 out of 1,000 women. Okay,
and from those statistics, which I've seen them before, they're from reported actual crimes, right?
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Now,
so it's possible, you're right, it's possible the statistics are higher because of unreported crimes, sure.
Okay, well, you answered my question.
But I will also add that I do not think that for every 6 crimes that were reported, there were 244 that were not. Right, so the idea that the statistics that are being cited, 1 out of 5 women is raped versus 6 out of 1,000, the idea that gap can be crossed simply by people who are not reporting rape, I think that's a large stretch. I'd have to see some statistical evidence to that effect.
You basically answered my question. The reason I wanted to bring that up is I hope no one listened and believed just everything you said, because your number, 6 out of 1,000, it's like shocking. To some people, they hear 1 out of 5, and then all of a sudden it's 6 out of 1,000. That's a big gap.
Well, it is a big gap, and as I say, even if the gap is not 6 out of 1,000, it is not 250 out of 1,000. Right? People are saying 200, 250 out of 1,000. So you're right. It's in terms of women who are not reporting, but I have no way of actually categorizing that, and you don't have a statistic either. So you're going to have to give me a stat now. Right? I'm using a stat that actually exists. You're saying that stat comes up short. I'm acknowledging that there are limitations to that stat. But in order for you to get to there's a rape epidemic, I'm going to need to know what the actual stat is and how you got there.
Okay. I don't got them, so. Thank you.